Happy Saturday to you all. Welcome back to another video. I feel really strange because I'm like all alone at home. My son, who's 18, is the only kid that really lives here permanently. He just left on his own for like a big trip to Europe or like down south. He's gonna meet up with his older brother a couple days in Barcelona, and then he wants to see Italy. And then he's going to Germany, and he's got one ticket to the European Championships in football, or in soccer, as you say in American English. And he's going to see Ukraine, Belgium, and he's super excited about it. But he's just like, here I was like all along, just kind of waiting for me to be like free, and I don't have to take any kids to take care of. And now that I'm all alone, it's like I could do anything I want tonight, and I don't really want to do anything. So it's kind of like you need to be careful for what you wish for, because all of a sudden you're all by yourself, and maybe it isn't that great, you know? There was dancing tonight, but I just felt it was just too cold. We've had a real cold spell ever since my last video, because I just kind of, I looked at that, kind of what I spoke about, so I wouldn't repeat myself today. And I don't want to talk about the same fragrances, but then I heard myself saying in the beginning of the video that we'd had a little hot spell, and we did. This was a few weeks ago. And then it kind of got cold, and it just never warmed up since. And we've had some really terrible weather, and especially at night, the temperature drops like crazy. It's just not a good summer. I mean, we have incredible light. I don't know if you get the light here, but if you're going to come to Sweden, you should come in the summer, because it stays light almost all night. Like, it'll only get dark. I mean, in Stockholm, up north, it doesn't get dark at all. The sun doesn't go down even. Where I live in Stockholm, which is the capital, it's pretty much only dark for a few hours, like around, when does it get dark? You know, I don't even know, maybe around midnight for like 2 hours or something, and then it kind of gets light again. So it's hard to sleep sometimes, but you need to really have, you know, good blinds. But I really love the light, and so do most of us here. It's just like we're just soaking ourselves in sunlight. And I mean, I think that we've learned like to not, I mean, I don't tan much. Like I would never like lay out in the sun for hours just to get a suntan. But Swedish people, you know, historically have done that. It's been our culture. It's still kind of fashionable to be really brown, like have really brown skin. And a lot of Swedes really tan well. But I have, you know, my grandfather was Irish, so I've kind of got that real, you know, the kind of skin where you have to be careful. And I think even the people that tan well should be careful, because it is not good for you to spend too much time in the sun. A little bit is good for the D vitamin, but not the way people use the sun here. But I think some people are kind of waking up. But now I'm off topic. Okay, so I have some new fragrances I want to tell you about. First, I just want to tell you that tomorrow we're having that perfume meetup. I have them regularly, about, say, once every, you know, like 4 times a year maybe. And I think like 12 people are coming, and then I've also invited some of my like normal friends and neighbors. So we'll see if maybe some other people will pop by, which is nice, because then some of my perfume friends can maybe sell some perfumes to them, because they maybe not quite as picky as we are, because we kind of get, you know, like if you're into fragrance like I am, we don't get excited about a bottle of, say, YSL Libre or something like that. And so maybe some of us have things like that they might want to get rid of. I'm just thinking. Okay, so first of all, I want to tell you about a fragrance that I picked up at this little perfume fair about a month ago. And I think it was a mistake. I don't hate it, but it's a partial, but they were kind of selling a tester bottle, so I got this quite cheaply. It's called Velvet Vanilla, and it's from Mancera, and I typically have not been a fan of this house, and I still think that maybe I should stay off of this brand. I have it on my skin too. I have it on my hand. I just put it on like, say, 20 minutes ago, and it's like, I mean, it's like a fruity floral, kind of a little designery. I find that it smells a little bit cheap. It's better. The dry down maybe is a little better than the beginning. I'm going to put a little more on just to kind of remember that, what I first thought when I... It's very white floral. I mean, it's white floral with some sweet fruits. I'm going to talk a little bit about the notes too. It has like pear, angelica, and angelica, I think I made a mistake in my last video. I was talking about angelica, and angelica is not the bitter note. The bitter note that I kind of mix it up with is called something also with an A. Artemisia. I think maybe I did say it correctly, actually. I was talking about Artemisia. Maybe that was actually right. That's bitter. Angelica, however, is described as sweet, rooty, musky, and woody. So this is a pretty sweet fragrance. It has pear, angelica, black currant, which can be a little tart, pink pepper, mandarin orange, and clove, so a little bit spicy too. And then it has a lot of tuberose and jasmine. I mean, it's not like a tuberose scent. Like, I mean, many people find this bubblegummy. I'm not so sure I would make that association, actually. People say, you know, on Fragrantica, it smells like bubblicious, and I'll tell you what, this might guide you a little bit, maybe not. First, okay, let's go. Let's finish the notes. Tuberose, jasmine, neroli, and rose in the mid, and then vanilla, white musk in the base. But okay, so 265 people. But have in mind that a lot of people have rated this fragrance. It has a 3.95 average rating out of 5 on Fragrantica, and very many people have voted. And 265 people find this similar to Love Don't Be Shy by Kilian, which I would never have thought of that connection at all, because, and I'll have to say that even more people disagree with that. So 265 people find it similar, and 367 disagree with that. Okay, so this one is more of like a white floral with fruit in the top. And Love Don't Be Shy is like a heavy orange blossom, kind of marshmallowy, and it has a creamy character, like a little bit lactonic feeling. It's more of like a full-on gourmand. This is more just cloyingly sweet in a cheap way. Kind of like fake fruit, I would say. I think this is going to be passed on to my daughter if I can't maybe swap it with someone yet that's coming tomorrow. I doubt it, because I don't think this will be popular among the people coming, except maybe like if the neighbors come and they bring their, 20-year-old daughter, might go for this. It's very young. Many people also find it similar to Truth or Dare by Madonna, if you're familiar with that. That's a very heavy tuberose fragrance. I think that's much better, because my friend has that. I've sniffed that before. And 161 find it similar to Angelique Noire from Guerlain. And I have sniffed that in the past, but I can't remember. So I just wanted to say, and 251 disagree about that they would be similar. I should get my nose on Angelique Noire, actually, because I haven't smelled that in such a long time. I couldn't tell you anything about it. But one fragrance in my collection, or in my decant collection, that does remind me a little bit, that's kind of like the same category, and I've been close to getting rid of it, and I only have this much. It is from a lab on fire, and it's called Messy Sexy Just Rolled Out of Bed. If you've heard about it, I think it's kind of a fun name. But it's also kind of like juvenile. It's for a younger person, but this is quite well made. I put it on this hand, so I've been comparing them. And they are definitely in the same ballpark, although I much prefer Messy Sexy Just Rolled Out of Bed. And this one is really nice for layering. Like when I put on a fragrance and it comes off like too green, too fresh, too sour, too heavy, maybe too masculine, then I can put up a little puff of this on, because this kind of sweetens it up and makes it more feminine. This was created by Dominique Ropion. They came out in the same year, these two. I find those kind of things a little bit interesting. Dominique Ropion, there's peach blossom at the top with bergamot, and then heliotrope. And then the base, it has all these like gourmand notes, like toffee, vanilla, tonka, and then also some cashmere wood and sandalwood and amber. So this is more of this is a little bit more gourmandy maybe than the other one, which is more white floral, and this is powdery in a different way. I mean, heliotrope is powdery, right? So, and it's not so fruity. Yeah, this is a different kind of fragrance. I like powdery much more. This was more of a transparent kind of fruity floral designer type fragrance. I don't think I will wear it. I don't know why I got it. Sometimes I just feel like getting something, and also kind of like I wanted to encourage people that were there, and I didn't want to go there and not buy anything. Oh well, it'll end up in someone's collection perhaps. Okay, so what else do I want to tell you about? This is another really good fragrance that I've tried since I spoke to you last. Is called another good fragrance. Those were actually not so good. Okay, this is a good fragrance. I don't know if I would buy it, but I would be, it kind of is so good that I would like to look into this house more. And the house has 6 fragrances. It's from France and it's called Onskad. I don't even know what that means. It doesn't sound like a French word to me. But it's kind of like all the inspiration is kind of from fashion icons and like the red carpet and catwalk. And this particular one is supposed to be kind of like a kind of a fancy lady walking down the streets of London, and she's like really kind of like an aristocrat, and it's very beautiful. I have it in my palm here. I tried it on also this morning. It's kind of a musky lily fragrance. It has a little ylang ylang as well. It's just a really nice, a little bit aldehydic, perhaps not super unique. I wouldn't call this. Let's see what else it has. It has the note of forget-me-not. It's the first time I've seen that, and I don't know how I don't even know what forget-me-nots, if they have much of a smell. Maybe it's kind of like a made-up thing. And carrot seeds, which I can't really pick up. It's not super earthy or anything. And then there's white rose in the mid, musk and ylang ylang in the base. These fragrances were all created by someone named Lee Hiram, or Hiram, Hiram, and they all came out, I think, I'm not sure, this one came out in 2023, so this is quite new, and it's called L'Irréprochable. And this is, let's see, okay, so this house has like 2 different collections, and one of them is called the Fashion Icon Collection. This one belongs to that. And then there's one called the Retrospective Collection that are all based on different eras, fashion eras. One is the 30s, the other one is the 50s, and one is called the 80s. And I remember sniffing these when we went up north, me and my friend, Clara, and she's going to bring the 80s tomorrow, so I can sniff that again. I remember thinking that was quite interesting. And I don't know much about these fragrances, but I think that the quality seems, I mean, this is really good. It's kind of like a Chanel type fragrance. I would say it's that kind of, and the price point is, okay, they're a little bit different. Like this one collection, the Fashion Icon Collection, which this one belongs to, is a little more expensive, 100 milliliter for 220 euros. And the Retrospective Collection is slightly cheaper. They're 180 euros for the same amount, 100. And that they also seem to come in 15 mils for 50 euros. So maybe I can report back. It seems like the other 2 in this collection, there are 3 in each collection. This one's kind of like inspired by London. And then there's one called L'Indomptable, which is inspired by Paris and Venice. And then there's one called it means rebellious. It's called L'Insoumise. It's based on or inspired by New York. So I thought that was kind of fun. And since like when you have a good first experience, and I have kind of like a vague memory of our experience of this brand when we went up north last summer. So only 9 people have voted on this one. So I think it's a fragrance house, very, very small and maybe not so easy to get a hold of. But if you see it, try it. Okay, so now I have some kind of odd fragrances to tell you about. They're not all bad, but none of these that I'm going to be talking about now. I have 6 fragrances here. I wouldn't buy a full bottle of any of these, I don't think. Okay, let's start from like the oddest and then go and work our way to the most wearable. The ones that I would not wear, they're both from a house called Rubini. And God, now I think this is actually French, although it sounds Italian, because one of them is called Tambour Sacré, which sounds very French, and the other one is called Odenaturae, Ode Nature. I'll put it in the comments. You can read what it's called. I really don't know how to pronounce it. But I'm going to tell you about it. These are the oddest fragrances. Like when I could hardly, they were both, let's see, this one, okay, let's see if they're made by this. Yeah, they're made by the same person. Cristiano Canali is the perfumer. And they came out, okay, Tambour Sacré, let's start with that one. That one came out in 2018. And even if I tell you the notes, it's not going to give you a picture of what it smells like, because it's like so odd, but like they've combined coffee with tuberose, which tells you a little bit, and acacia, which I think is a berry. It has myrrh in the base, some cardamom in the top. It's super strange. It's hard, I don't even want to put it on. I'm going to spray it on a piece of paper here. Wait. just to kind of remember what it smells like, because I don't want this on my skin because it's just so strange. Oh, I don't know. Coffee, cardamom, and tuberose together. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know about this. Tambour Sacré. Sacré, you would think was something that has to do with a church, but I'm not sure what that could be. There's no like incense. Maybe the myrrh, but I don't know. It's really, really strange. I don't like it at all. It has a little bit of a freshness to it and a little bit of spice. It's just, it has something watery and something that's off. The clash of notes is terrible. And now I'm going to try the other one. It's called, the one that I call, it's not Oud. It's not O-U-D. It's O-D-E. So it's Odenaturae. Well, maybe you can see there what it says. It's spelled like that. From Rubini as well. Oh, this is absolutely horrible. I think this one is even worse. Let's see. This says chamomile, Angelica. So Angelica is the one that's sweet and rooty, musky and woody, not the bitter one. Okay, now I remember. This is the tomato leaf. It's very heavy tomato leaf, so if you love tomato leaf, you're going to like this one perhaps, because it actually is, it smells a lot like tomato leaf, like natural. I've written would never wear, like I would never wear this. Wild berries, tomato leaf, bitter orange, then chamomile, Angelica, Mystique, which is kind of like a balsamic note, thyme, and something called hyssop, Hyssop. I've never seen that in fragrance before. Basil, laurels, clary sage, woody notes, immortelle, orange blossom, broom, French rose. It's really, really, really odd. I don't recommend them, but if you are into like odder fragrances and you're kind of sick of mainstream, this is not mainstream. They're very unique. You might want to look into those. Let's see. I think I wrote Italy. 5 frags from the house. No, I think I was wrong there. I don't think it was Italy. I think I'm guessing that. I was guessing that. I think it was French, actually. Okay, those were from Rubini. And then I tried, then there are 2 new ones from Chapel Factory, and I think they're both from 2023. Let me see, I took some notes here. 2022 and 2023, so quite new. And this one, these are actually better. These are better. Like, one of them is called L'Eau de Mystique. It means kind of like pine water. And this one is an interesting fragrance. There's galbanum, and I love galbanum. And then it has some incense, some leather. I'm actually going to put a squirt of this on. I mean, this is green and fresh, like right off the, right when the opening is like piney, green, fresh, maybe slightly incensey. Oh, it has incense. This one has incense. Okay, and some rose. It's slightly sweet. I mean, it's not a sweet fragrance, but there's something sweet in there. It's not like just pure green minty or anything. But the rose, maybe the rose is making it quite sweet. It has 2 kinds of rose. It has rose in the top and rose in the mid. I don't know what kinds of rose. I've written might wear. Like I would put it on my skin. I put it on my skin now. It's not bad, but I don't know if I would like give it a full wearing because it might not be worth it. It's actually quite rosy. It's like, it's galbanum and green notes, with also cypress and some leather and vetiver and labdanum. I'm not sure if I can pick up on that. It's not like an amber fragrance. It's more aromatic. It's an aromatic fragrance for sure. Okay, so the other one from Chapel Factory, let's see, I'd like to give you like a perfumer, but there isn't one. I don't think they've listed one, or maybe I forgot to write it down. Okay, so this fragrance has oud in it, but it's not like a super oudy fragrance. It's more of a tea fragrance, actually. It's called Oud Pagode. Pagode, with an E on the end. And it has lotus and tea in the top, and then rice, cashmere wood, and musk and oud in the base. I'm going to put it on my skin on the other side. I've written could wear. That doesn't mean might wear. Like I could wear it, but I'm not. I don't know if I will. But Oh, this one I've written, because I tried this, like I gave this more about, I was sitting trying fragrances last weekend and I made all these notes. I've written, this is really light. It has flowers and tea and it's a little musky and a touch of oud, only a touch. I don't think I even would have guessed. Well, maybe. This is actually nice. This is much nicer than I remembered it. I like this actually. I think I will wear this. This is pretty good. I mean, I like tea fragrances. It gives a nice, interesting bitterness to a fragrance. This is nice. Oud Pagode. It's not oudy. It's not like a heavy oud or anything. Not at all. Okay, so I have 2 fragrances from another house. And this house is, I think that maybe it's called Hima Jomo. And I'm not sure if it's Japanese or if it's something they're inspired by. God, I should know this. I looked this up, but I've forgotten. I think it's maybe they're inspired by like Japanese something. Hima Jomo. And I have 2 fragrances, and one's called Loon, and one is called Tchai. And Loon was created by Bernard de Chaffour. I think this house, Hima Jomo, has like a few fragrances, and there's 3 perfumers, I think, that have made these fragrances. And Bertrand de Chaffour has made this one, I think, and one more. I'm not sure. Loon, it has the note of snow. I mean, who knows what that smells like, right? But this is kind of, I've written, this is a little bit salty, rosy, and there's jasmine that you can definitely smell. And then it's a little bit minerally and cool. So I'm going to spray it again, just on my fingers here. I hardly have anywhere to spray now because I've kind of got fragrance all over the place. This I think is kind of interesting, actually. Not that I would ever go out and buy this. I don't think I would. It's kind of, it is definitely, there's a little bit of an ambergris kind of feeling. It's pink Himalayan sea salt, which of course does not have much of a fragrance, but they've done something to kind of create this kind of salty feeling, like a minerally salty. And it also has the note of Edelweiss, which is a really uncommon note. I guess Edelweiss is like a Swiss flower. You know, I remember they sung about it in Sound of Music. Or that was from Austria, I think. And I don't know what that smells like. But it's kind of a cool fragrance. There's some incense too, frankincense, vetiver, and cedar. I mean, it's nice. It's called Loon. I definitely think you can check it out. And then the other one is called Tchai, which obviously is a tea fragrance as well, I think. This, in this case, is Darjeeling tea and black tea, and mate, which also is also kind of, I don't know if mate is a tea or it's more like something like you make a hot drink from it and you drink it like tea or coffee. I think it's definitely caffeinated, but I'm not sure if it is. I think it's quite popular in South America. But this had violet leaf. It's tea-ish. I've written, it's interesting. I've given it a 3 out of 5, and it's called Tchai with a T. So it's like, I don't know if you can see that. Am I holding this upside down maybe? See, I see it mirrored if I look. Never mind. Violet leaf, it has some mimosa, it has some osmanthus. Okay, a little squirt on my fingers just to remind myself. Oh, this now I've written Hima Jomo was a French house. So Hima Jomo, it sounds Japanese, but I think it's like the inspiration comes from Asia or something like that. This is not good. This is not good. If you're into tea, like if you really, really like the smell of tea, you might like this. And the perfumer's name is Bernard Filion. Sounds very French, right? Okay, so that was Tchai. If you were a tea freak, I would look into these fragrances. I mean, they're good fragrances, just kind of a little bit like they're not my typical style. Like I don't gravitate towards tea fragrances much. Like, oh, today I want to wear a tea fragrance. I'm going to a party. No, wouldn't feel right. So when would I wear a tea fragrance? Like maybe when I was going to be, doing some gardening. By the way, I've gotten really into gardening. I was kind of like cleaning up the driveway because I have these it's kind of like little cobblestones. And between them, this moss starts to grow and all these weeds. And it's just so sad. Once you get going with picking up the weeds, because when I pick them up, I can sometimes get the whole roots, like in a whole little strip of moss to come out with it. It's so satisfying to see the results. Like just after an hour, I've cleared like a whole space. And it's doing it by hand is so much, it gives a lot more long-term effect compared to using like the high pressure water machine that makes so much noise. And it's really heavy to hold for a long time. So sometimes I almost find it like meditation doing this weeding. So I've kind of gotten into that. So I'm trying to sell my house again. I still haven't, but now 5 families have looked at the house, and it's kind of a new system. I'm not putting an ad out for like everyone to see it. So only people like qualified buyers are let in to see the house, like that they either already sold their place and can cash up, or that they have, you know, like a promise from the banks that they have the money, so that they're actually a qualified buyer. But now I found something that I want, which is like an apartment, but it's like half of a regular house, that I would have the bottom floor, or me and my son, and then another family would live above us. But I'm not allowed to see it until I am a qualified buyer. So either I have to take like a special kind of bridge loan, which I don't want to do, because I want to first sell this to see what I have to move around with. Even though I'm moving to smaller, I feel like the market is too unsure, and I don't know if I'll get what I want. So I might not be able to bid on that apartment. It's considered an apartment though, but it would feel like living in a house, which would be nice for me. Okay. Then I'd like to say a few words about gourmands, because like the last 6 months or so, I've actually been reaching for sweet fragrances ever so often. But I mean, I'll wear it like once and then I kind of won't go back. And I did bring out, let's see. So one day I wore, it feels like it takes energy somehow to wear a sweet fragrance. But on the other hand, it's so satisfying because they often have very good longevity, and they're kind of like you can just feel your fragrance all day. And I just thought I'd go through the ones that I have in my collection and kind of what I think of them. And I'd like to hear your opinions on these two. One is Bengale Rouge, which I definitely consider gourmand. It's a very kind of strong honey fragrance. I think it's like myrrh, very, very much honey. And it's very similar to, it's the same style as one called Eau de Mystique from Wesker. Both of these, I kind of wear them in the same way. Like these are pretty much like heavy honey fragrances with a little bit of, this is myrrh, this has maybe a little more incense in it. But they're very satisfying and warming, like on a cold, the way the summer has been kind of what it's called, evolving, whatever, it has been not so great. But on the other hand, I've been reaching for fragrances that I typically wear in colder weather instead of reaching for my summer fragrances, because the weather it's just been too cold, you know. And then I think I wore this one. I used to have a bottle of this. It's Oud Bouquet from Maison Lancôme, you know, their exclusive series. And this, I kind of grew out of it, I think. But then I think I smelled it on a friend and I was like, oh my gosh, I have some of that. And then I wore it one day and I felt like, wow, it's rose, it's oud, it's sweet, it's sugar. It's just like very, very enveloping kind of. But I won't get rid of this, but it'll probably last me for the rest of my life, because all you need is like 1 or 2 sprays. It's so potent, it'll just last all day long. Okay, and then there's another fragrance that I was about to buy full bottle of last summer, and I didn't. And I'm off and on about this fragrance. Sometimes it's just too sweet for me to wear, and it's Blanche Bête. Although the person who sent me this has written Bête Blanche, but it's called Blanche Bête, and it's from Liquide Imaginaires, and it's a really, really fluffy, sweet, marshmallowy kind of fragrance with. It is really, really good. And the other day when I had it, I just felt like $1,000,000, and I wore it like it lasted me all day. And then I think I was going dancing at night, and I think I put like 1 or 2 more squirts on it at night. But that was like from morning. So I mean, this will last me 2 years, because I'm just gonna wear it now and then. After I've worn it one day, I feel like I don't feel like wearing it again for a while. Even though I really, really like it. I mean, it is such a good fragrance. It really is. A little bit I could compare the feeling with Guidance. Like first I was like all blown away. Oh my God, it's so good. And then it was like so strong. It was everywhere. I get like 1/4 of that feeling, like that too much feeling. This is too much with this one. But with guidance, I finally just had to let the bottle go. I still have a decant. I don't think I'll wear that decant. Someone can probably have it. But this one, I wish they had smaller bottles. If they had smaller bottles, maybe I would go for a bottle. But 100 ml, I'll never get through that. So I think for that reason, probably won't get it. And then I have two kind of sweet fragrances. They're kind of in that same field. And one of them is Love and Crime from Idolo. And the other one is Vanilla Silk from Gallagher. And they're kind of like, I have the same feeling about these. Like this Vanilla Silk I've worn once. And then I've kind of like had a hard time going back to it. It's a little bit like coffee shop-ish. Like it smells like the syrups that they pour in. I never ordered these drinks, but I see people coming in, they put like squirt like a big cream thing on top, and then they pour like some kind of syrup on it, and it just looks really fake. I mean, this smells really, really good. I just think it's almost too like cake-like for me. There's something slightly boozy about this. I don't have the notes written down. So I'm going to give this another chance. I think this is a really good fragrance, but it is maybe a little bit too gourmandy for me, but I'm happy for my decant. Will not go full bottle for sure. And this Idolo Love and Crime, I think it's slightly easier to wear. I'm going to put a little bit on my skin now just because we're talking about it. There's something, I don't know, I tried it somewhere and I just felt like I had to have a decant. And someone wanted to know about our Swedish community. I'll tell you a little bit maybe more in the next video, and maybe I'll actually walk around with the camera a little bit tomorrow at our meetup. We'll see if the others think that's all right. But it's really, really strong. Idolo they're quite expensive. They sell them in these little 30 ml bottles, which I think is good. There's a great amber fragrance from this house too, and I think it's called is it called Rioter or something? God, I forget. I can't remember the name right now. The amber fragrance is really good though. This is really sweet. It's kind of like Acqua e Zucchero from Perfumum Roma almost, but this is more, I think this is a little bit boozier. That one's a little bit more like just pure flowers and sugar. This is more gourmand, like a cake or like I don't know. Anyway, sometimes I'm just in the mood and then I just like pulling out these sweet fragrances. But what's good about our community is like whatever I want, I can usually find in the community. Well, now I'm a little bit interested in Grossmith. Is Grossmith from the UK? I can't remember if it's French or if it's from the UK, but it's kind of one of those real old houses that like the family members have kind of made some kind of revival and are kind of bringing it to the market again. They have them in this shop up north called Fragrance and Art. And they made a fragrance, I think, when King Charles became king, kind of to his honor or whatever. And maybe they are British then for that reason. I'm not sure. I think so. I think they're British. But they have some really good fragrances. And then there's another one called De Gabor. 2 words, D-E, Gabor. And I think those are really expensive, but I'm also very curious to try them. And this Fragrance and Art has some really nice fragrances. They have also some house called Nashima. So I need to go up there. And but what's nice is that I can get like a decant of almost anything. Like if I just put it out in my group, can I, I'd like a $5 of this and this, and then someone, will raise their hand and say you can have this. And usually they charge, whatever the bottle cost and just divide it. So you pay for what you buy. Maybe, and then they'll maybe put on a little bit for the decant, which is just not much. And then postage. Usually people give you a pretty good price. Sometimes people, I think, buy big bottles, especially of like Christian Dior. They're so expensive. If you buy the bigger bottle, at least you get a better, price per volume unit of the juice. And then they can sell them kind of at a decant price that's based on the smaller bottle. And then it's a way of kind of financing your hobby, which I think is fine if they do that. Everyone in the community doesn't know each other, but to these meetups, usually a few new people come every time. Like I put it out in this group. It's called the Nordic Perfume Connoisseurs. It's all in Scandinavia, or it's in Swedish or Norwegian usually. But if you can use Google Translate. I have to even translate the Norwegian sometimes because it's too difficult for me to understand all the words. I understand a lot of it. It's more difficult to understand when they speak than in writing. Danish is even harder to understand, but for some reason I think Swedish is more clear. So the Danes and the Norwegians, they can understand us better than we can understand them. But we all have our own language, but they are very much related. And I think if you're in southern Sweden, then it's even more similar to Danish. Like in up north, if you're close to the Norwegian border, maybe your accent is a little closer to Norwegian. So I mean, I think if I moved to Norway, I would pick up on Norwegian pretty quick, like the different words, and then finally it's pretty easy. I would get into it. I don't think I would go over to like talking Norwegian, because I know that people that come here from Norway, they have kind of a special way of talking. They'll speak with Swedish words, but kind of in their own Norwegian kind of melody a little bit. That's kind of how it's done, I guess, because we do kind of go over the borders. And I mean, Denmark is almost considered, it's not really considered going abroad, and maybe not even going to Norway, because people, cross the border to ski, or you go down south and you cross the border just for a day to hang out in Copenhagen. My son does it all the time because he lives in Malmö now, which is Sweden's third largest city. So he goes to Copenhagen to just, hang out with friends. He knows some Danes that he's met on some previous trips. Yeah. Okay, so that's all I had for today, guys. I've loved your comments. Thank you for commenting so much. I just think it's so much fun. And when you guys write that you've missed me since last time, that really warms my heart. I think it's great. But I don't really have video material to come online all the time. I don't spend so much time on fragrance anymore because I just don't have the time. I mean, I wear fragrance all the time. I just don't sit and analyze and look up houses and look up perfumers and look up the notes and everything. But tomorrow will be fun. I should actually start preparing for that. I'm gonna, bake some cookies and maybe make some fruit salad. I have a watermelon here so it's just simple. It's not, we don't have real food or anything. It's just like coffee and cake and something like that. Yeah. Okay, guys. Talk to you later.